10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, my friends. And thank you so much for coming to spend part of your Friday, March 22nd with me. A lot of news today, a lot of news. A lot of bad news broke today. And there's been so much breaking news today that it's been hard for me to keep up with it. I don't know how you guys are keeping up with it, but a lot of stuff happening today. And this evidence dump in the Jodi Hildebrandt Ruby Franke case is heartbreaking, it's shocking, and it's of a very sensitive and horrifying nature. I'm going to try to cover this as sensitively as I can. In fact, one of my moderators texted me right before the stream and she said, Melanie, I just can't. I can't be there today. I'm really sorry. I just can't do this. I can't hear it. I can't listen to it. I can't watch it. And I know that a lot of you guys feel the same way because like me, you're parents and grandparents, and we just can't wrap our head around how anybody could treat their children this way or other people's children this way. It's horrifying. And what we're going to see today, I'm going to not try and show you the most graphic of things. I'm going to try and talk about it a little bit more than I am going to show it to you, because I got to be honest with you. Some of the coverage that I've been watching lately by creators on the Madeline Soto case has really shook me. I don't understand why the coverage has to be so graphic. I think there's a way to cover that case more sensitively, and I'd like to do that with you. I haven't had a chance to do that with you yet, but that's a rough case too. So along with the breaking news, very sadly, Riley Strain, the young 22-year-old University of Missouri student who went missing in Nashville after being ejected from Luke Bryan's bar exactly 2 weeks ago today. And I did a stream on that when he was missing and the search for Riley Strain. And his body was found this morning in the Cumberland River, about 8 miles from the last place that he was found. And it was very sad. Apparently his body, I think, was trapped underneath a barge, and that's why they couldn't find it any sooner. So prayers up for Riley's family and friends, and rest in peace, Riley. Very sad ending to the story. I think we were all hoping to find Riley alive, but sadly, that's not how it happened. Other news breaking today is that Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, has been diagnosed with cancer, and she's undergoing chemotherapy, and that is also very, very sad. There had been a lot of press lately about her and where she was and why she wasn't out there and photoshopping some picture, and I just didn't get it. I'm like, why does everybody care whether she photoshopped the picture or not? But apparently it's because she had abdominal surgery, and the abdominal surgery was related to a cancer. They haven't released what kind of cancer she has yet, and let her have some privacy. I don't get it. Maureen Francis, as always, thank you so much for the Cash App before the stream even started. You are so very generous. And Gay Lynn also for gifting 5 Attorney Melanie Little memberships. I really appreciate you so much. And Cal, thanks for being a member for 5 months, and says thank you for a safe place and for being you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I thought we could look at this stuff together, because I know a lot of you had a hard time looking at this Ruby Franke, Jodi Hildebrandt evidence alone. So we're going to try and do it together. There's a lot of stuff. There's body cam footage of the arrest of Jodi and the arrest of Ruby. There's Ring doorbell footage of when Ruby's 12-year-old son escapes to the neighbor's house. And I have about 11 videos on this topic. And so if you're not up to speed on it, you can go back and watch those. There's a whole playlist called Ruby Franke, Jodi Hildebrandt, something like that. And we listened to that 911 call from the neighbor, and it was chilling and it was heartbreaking. And the neighbor is crying when he's making this call. But now what has surfaced today, or what's been released today, is Ring doorbell footage from the neighbor's house when the young boy, and I'm not going to name them. I see people on other Law and Crime and Court TV naming the children. I'm not going to name the children. If you want to know their names, you can probably find it somewhere. He's 12 years old, and he was the boy that was held captive in the safe room or the basement or some closet at Jodi Hildebrandt's house in Ivins, Utah. And we listened to that 911 call, and it was chilling. So we are now going to see the Ring doorbell footage of that. And there are some police precinct investigation tapes, interrogation tapes, I guess you can say, of Kevin Franke, the father of the children, the, I guess, now ex-husband of Ruby Franke. He filed for divorce shortly after Ruby was arrested on August 30th of 2023 is when all of this happened. We are also going to look at parts of a journal that was found that apparently belonged to Ruby Franke. And it's horrifying. So let's put a trigger warning up on one of my amazing mods, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah, the divorce may not be final yet, but he did file for divorce shortly thereafter. I'm not really sure if it's final yet or not, but he is trying to get custody back of his children. So just as a quick recap, on August 30th of 2023, 12-year-old son of Ruby and Kevin Franke escaped from Jodi Hildebrandt's house in Ivins, Utah, and ran to a neighbor's house. Ruby Franke was a YouTuber. She had a family vlogging channel. She was like a mommy vlogger, they called her. At one point, she had something like 2.3 million subscribers. She posted parenting videos on her YouTube where she made a living out of posting videos of her 6 kids' most embarrassing moments. And the YouTube channel, 8 Passengers, was very, very popular. In fact, she made millions and millions of dollars from that YouTube channel, and she fully admitted that. And at some point, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think it was sometime around early 2022 when that 8 Passengers channel went dark. And Ruby Franke partnered up with Jodi Hildebrandt in this enterprise they called Connections with an X. And you can go back and look at some of my older streams on that. And they were doling out parenting advice and marriage counseling advice. And Jodi Hildebrandt had had her license suspended in the state of Utah for ruining marriages and disclosing patient information to leaders of the Mormon church and the LDS church about one of her patients. And he's been very, very vocal about this. And he was recently told to cease and desist from talking about it. But Jodi Hildebrandt had a long, long history of destroying lives. And her niece, Jessie Hildebrandt, did an episode on Mormon Stories podcast where Jessie revealed that she had been severely abused by Jodi going all the way back to 2005 when her Jessie's parents left Jessie at Jodi's house in Utah. They were visiting from California, and her parents, or Jessie's parents, left Jessie there. And she was severely physically, mentally abused, tortured by Jodi Hildebrandt. So this connections thing goes on, and they have this business where they're giving out parenting advice and making videos, and it's really creepy. I don't know if the website's still up, but I had the website up on one of my streams, so it had still been up. Yeah, she's they, them. Sorry, Jessie, they, them. You're correct. I misspoke. I try. Sometimes I just try and say Jesse so that I don't screw it up. But here we go. So the connections thing was a bit bizarre. And there's a lot of stories about all of the weirdness that was going on there. But suffice to say that this whole thing comes to a head and culminates August 30th of 2022 when Ruby Franke's youngest son, who's 12 years old, escapes from the Ivans home that looks like a prison of Jodi Hildebrandt and runs to a neighbor's house begging for help. We're going to leave the story right there, and we're going to pick up and start off with the Ring doorbell footage from the neighbor's house. And there's two parts to it. There's a part where he rings the bell, and then there's a part where the neighbor's wife goes to get him some food and water.
Answer the door right now, but if you'd like to leave a message, you can do it now.
Imagine the fear.
Yes. Hi, I was just wondering if you could do 2 favors. Well,
I don't know if you can hear, but he says, I was just wondering if you could do a huge favor.
what are they? Taking me to the nearest police station.
And the neighbor says, well, what are they? And he says, take me to the nearest police station.
Well, actually, just one's fine. What's going on, son? Have a seat there. It's personal business.
He says, it's just personal business. The man says, what's going on there? Can you guys hear this okay? Or do you want me to repeat it to you?
Have a seat. What's your name? How'd you get here?
He says, how'd you get here? And he said, okay, somebody said you couldn't hear. So I'm gonna just repeat what they're saying as they say it.
There's police station.
He says, can you take me to a police station?
Well, actually, just one's fine.
Well, actually, just one close by. Well, originally, he asked for 2 favors.
What's going on, son? Have a seat there.
He says, what's going on, son? Have a seat there.
It's personal business.
He says, the boy says, it's personal business. Look how skinny his legs are.
Have a seat.
He says, have a seat.
What's your name?
What's your name?
How'd you get here?
How'd you get here? And that's where it ends. This is Kathy Russin's Twitter. She's a producer at Law and Crime. She's been posting all day. The next video shows when the wife comes out. And you can hear the man on the phone saying he's hungry, and all the faces are blurred out. So I like the way that they edited this. And he's here in his stocking feet. So he escaped from there.
We need the police here now.
The wife says, we need the police here now. And she's pacing and she's very upset. She says, do you have any allergies to anything? I think she's trying to get him some food and water because they can see he's got duct tape around his ankles. And I think he may have handcuffs dangling from his wrists. It's hard to see, but we remember we went over all the police reports and all of the information and the arrest warrants, everything that we had at the time. He says, I hear a car, they're out there in the driveway. And that's kind of where that Ring camera video ends. That's only a 30-second. Yes, bless this couple, number one. You can see if you go back and listen to the original 911 call that the man is trying so hard not to cry. He's also trying so hard to speak in words that are not going to frighten this boy. Because imagine the courage that it took for him to escape from this house. I'm going to show you a picture of the house because you might not remember, but the house is on the market right now. This is Jodi Hildebrandt's house in Ivins. It's on the market for $5.3 million. Here it is. Beautiful location in southern Utah, Washington County. Here's a nice aerial view of the house. It looks like a bunker. It looks like a prison. You're going to see when we look at the body cam footage, when they knock on the door of Jodi Hildebrandt's house, you're going to see the interior of this house as they go through the house. $5.3 million. It's over 10,000 square feet. And coming up is a picture of the safe door in the basement. I think I have it pulled up over here. When we listened to some 911 calls right away on this case, may have even been the same day that it broke. I don't even recall how long ago this was, maybe in August. This is that door in the basement that the 911 operator and the police officer were talking about when he said, there's a safe door down here. There's a safe door down here. And then there are some other pictures. Let's see if I can show you of what looks like what's inside that safe room. I don't know who's going to want to buy this house for $5.3 million. Here's a picture with the door open. Oops. It's hard to really see what's in there. It looks empty now, but these are the listing photos. Horrifying. And people have brought to my attention that there's a lot of people in Utah and a lot of people of the LDS faith who are doomsday preppers. And that's, they believe the end is coming and that they all need to be prepared for it. And I think this is a little bit more than that. Horrifying. Oh, we're blessing this couple for the whole time. So the first thing that we're going to look at is the body cam footage of Jodi when the police knock on her door. This is 49 minutes long, but a lot of it is just Jodi standing around looking real nervous. So we'll fast forward those parts. She also tells the police officers that she's got Airbnb guests in the house. So please don't disturb them. Like, that's what's on her mind. This is mind numbing, my friends, mind numbing.
Jodi, I need you to step out.
I have my turn.
That's great. Step out of the house.
No, I'm not gonna step out of the
Step out of the
house.
house. Step out of the house.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
We're just gonna see
Come on.
if anybody else. Is there anybody else?
Wait a minute, how do you come to my house?
Right there.
Look, they come into my house.
So have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant?
Have a seat right
Do you
there.
have a search
Have a
warrant?
seat right there. I'll explain everything after. Have a seat right there.
Do you have a search warrant, sir?
Control 12x11. Can you hold the air? We're searching the house.
I can tell you what's in the house.
Okay. Just have a seat right there for me.
Do you have a search warrant?
We'll explain it after this.
You can't just come into my house without a search warrant.
We'll explain everything after this, ma'am.
Trying to get you closed captionings on this. It's not coming up, so let me know
Okay.
if you can hear it okay.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we're here. So we'll explain after everything's done, after we clear the house and make sure everything's fine in
But
there.
why are you coming into my house without a
We'll
search
explain
warrant?
it after this.
But that doesn't make sense. You come into my house and do what you want, and then you tell me you don't have a
No, we'll
warrant?
explain why we did.
But don't you have to have a warrant?
Not at this moment, we don't.
She's awfully nervous and she's awfully haughty and she knows what's inside her house. And she must know by now that the boy has escaped. So now she's freaking out. But apparently she's also got Airbnb guests at her house. So what's that about? Yes, that's Jodi, Cheryl. It's Jodi. It's a little, there's shadows here, but this is Jodi. Sounds great. Okay.
We're here on exigent circumstances. And I'll explain it after this, after my sergeant and the officer are done clearing the house.
He just did, Nevaeh. He just did. Exigent circumstances. He doesn't need a warrant. They're trying to rescue. Originally, the boy tells the neighbor and law enforcement that his 3 sisters are at the house. So they think that they're going there to find his 3 sisters. But remember, we looked at this other body cam video. I think maybe on one of the last streams that I did. The 2 older daughters of Ruby Franke and Kevin Franke were found at Pam Botcher's house, who coincidentally was something like the CEO of Connections in American Fork, which is about over 4 hours away from Ivan's. And they were there doing some labor, cleaning her house. She just looks really stumped.
Is there anybody else in the house?
Yes.
2 kids?
There's a little girl.
Just one?
She's right over here.
Okay. How old is she?
She'll be 10 next week.
Okay.
She'll be 10 next week. Great. Wouldn't that have been a nice birthday? The boy did have a birthday while he was being held prisoner in that home, by the way.
And she's on this side?
Mm-hmm. I have Airbnb guests over there. Probably scared me to death.
I have Airbnb guests over there. You probably scared them to death. Really? Remember when we looked at that aerial view of the home, it looks like a couple of different bunkers. Maybe she's got separate wings, and maybe she does rent out one of the wings in her house. I don't know. Or maybe she's got other people there that are involved in this. I don't know. Sure, we would have heard that by now.
Okay.
Yes, Care Bear, you're going to hear the phone
They're on
conversation.
this side of the house then?
They're right over there. She's over here.
Can you get through the house that way?
Yes, they just have
Okay.
to go right there.
There's no other kids besides her?
No.
What's her name?
I mean, she's got to know there's a body cam there, right? She's got to know. But she's going to talk to her lawyer on FaceTime so we can hear the whole conversation.
Should be off to, where are you at? Should be off to the left, right in there. Is it the main bedroom?
It's right there.
How do you get there from the inside?
Walk around the corner. There's a little hall. And it's the first.
Just around the corner, down the hall.
Second door to the right.
Second door to the right. Yeah, it's muted right now. It's not me. It's them. Thanks, Mags. Let's go Buffs. Let's go Buffs 102 to Florida 100. Let's do it. Mags, I'm going to give you permission to go off topic and keep posting the score if you don't mind. It almost sounds like there's helicopters or something, but thanks, Miku, for knowing the layout of the house. Miku says there's a casita / mother-in-law house. What's piled up on the steps? I don't know. It looks like a bunch of envelopes, or maybe it's, her connections brochures. Yeah, Alicia, she does seem paralyzed, doesn't she? Fast forward this a little bit. He's not letting her out of his sight. He's standing there and he is going to keep her in his sight until he handcuffs her. We have so much to go through, so I don't want to let this whole thing play through because it's about 49 minutes.
No, you want to do outside.
You guys gonna grab cars?
Yeah.
Mine's still running.
you go down there? Downstairs, the garage.
I'm going to submit to you that it's going to take these officers a very long time to recover from this case and from what they saw and what they found.
They just walked in the house with a machine gun in their hands.
She's saying, they're at my house with a machine gun, she's saying to who we think is her lawyer on the phone.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
And he says, oh, Jodi, I'm so sorry. Take that back.
They just walked in the house with a machine gun in their hands.
Oh, Jodi, I'm so sorry.
Okay, I have questions. Says they did kind of roll up in a tank looking thing. Probably not necessary, but oh well. But yeah, no, who knew what they didn't know what they were in for. So we went over a list of the things that they found in that house. Imagine the terror that she feels now, only because she's about to get busted. Oh, thank you, Liz Larson. Liz Larson says, if I can get to this comment to highlight it, the lawyer on the phone is her business lawyer. She hired a different criminal lawyer.
With the Airbnb people.
Oh,
I don't know who this guy is. Anybody know who this guy is?
Airbnb people.
are they still here? Did they go?
I don't know. He had him somewhere on the side.
He says something like, the Airbnb people, are they still here or did they go? And then the officer says back to him, the one wearing the body cam says, they're still here. They're over there. I'm assuming he's associated with law enforcement. Yeah, Kelly, I don't think it's her golf pro, but he's dressed like it. I don't think it's the neighbor, Constance. I don't think it's the neighbor. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking, Stacy. He might be a detective, right? Mrs. Wild, plainclothes, right? That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know who.
Is there an officer that's close by you?
Yeah, he's standing.
Somebody?
One officer's talking to the other one. He says, is there an officer that's close by you that can watch somebody?
I don't know who he is, but yes,
That's my lieutenant.
he's lieutenant.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You have a room downstairs that has a safe wheel on the front. How do we get access to that to ensure that there's no one else in this home?
Adam,
They do need to search that there's nobody else, so I think you can give them access to make sure there's nobody in there.
And then you don't have to tell me
The lawyer is on speakerphone because he hears what the officer is saying, wanting to know the combination to that safe to get into that room to make sure there's nobody in there. And the lawyer tells her they have to be able to get in there. You have to give them access to that because they have to make sure that there's nobody else in the house.
the code if you just want to open it. And then you don't have to tell me the code if you just want to open it. We're going to go in and make sure that nobody's else there, and then we'll sit down and have a conversation after that as far as why we're here. Does that make sense?
Yes, it
Okay.
makes sense. And
Do you want to open it then?
I don't know if I have the code.
I don't know if I have the code, she says.
Does he have the code
No.
and he can tell you the code, and that's just between you two?
No. That thing has been locked for a couple of years, and I would have to call whatever.
Okay. Is that a panic
It's been locked for a couple of years and I'd have to call, no, who would you have to call? The safe company? Liberty Safe Company?
room or a room where and that's just between you two?
No. That thing has been locked for a couple of years, and I would have to call whatever.
Okay. Is that a panic room or a room where?
It's a room with a toilet.
Is it a panic room, he says? And she says, no, it's a room with a toilet,
With a sink.
with a sink.
Toilet and a sink, and you don't know the code.
I haven't used it.
Okay. All right. Where we're at. That's right. Let's get info from.
You got to call the safe company? Is that how you have to
I
call?
assume that's where I have to call.
Okay.
This hasn't
He says, who do you have to call? The safe company? And she says, I assume that's who I have to call.
been at the top of my priority list.
Yeah.
It's not on my priority list, she says.
So Jodi, can you put the phone to your
Yeah, just a minute. Yeah.
Lawyer says, Jodi, can you put the phone to your ear?
Yeah. Check what? I don't know what that means. I just think if I call the, I don't know that for certain, but I think if I call the whatever it's called Liberty Safe. But I don't know if they're gonna know because I'm the one that said it. That was 6 years ago. Ruby Lane. No. No.
behind what you thought were the exit that you would, the other individual, I don't know if that was you, mentioned that you would explain the purposes behind what you thought were the exigent circumstances. Can you tell us those now?
I can't. You'd have to talk to my sergeant or lieutenant about that.
For those of you who couldn't hear him, he says, I'd like for you to tell us what the exigent circumstances are that you're actually searching my client's house without a warrant. Really? She's going to pretend she doesn't know?
Could you get them, please?
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's like they're asking to talk to the manager. Yeah, we'd like your lieutenant, please. Can you get him? I'd like to see the manager. Oh, now we're going to get a look at the inside of the house.
LT? She's on the phone with her attorney.
Okay.
He's asking what the reasons why we're here. Because when I pulled her out, I told her, I was like, we're just here. Exigent circumstances required us to be here. So he was like, what are those? I said, could I have to talk to somebody
No, I'll
else?
talk to his face, but I'm not gonna talk to him on the phone.
Do what?
Yeah, no, I can talk to him on the phone. Is that your attorney? Okay.
Oh, good. He's going to get on the phone with the attorney.
Hello, sir.
Hey.
Hey, it's Lieutenant Studley. Hey, so we're not gonna have any conversation over the phone. We'll probably do that in person. Is there a time that we can sit down and meet?
Well, there is. I'm getting on a plane, so it would need to be Friday.
Okay,
Could we do Friday?
absolutely.
There are no captions on this one, Dog Defender. Sorry. He says, can we set up a meeting? He wants to know what the exigent circumstances are. And the police officer's like, or the lieutenant's like, I'm not telling you. We're going to have to do it in person. You want to come for a meeting? He says, well, I can't get there till Friday. He's like, oh, that's fine. We'll schedule it for Friday.
What time Friday works for you?
Well, could we do in the afternoon?
You tell me what time I will be available.
Jodi, would 4 o'clock on Friday work?
Yeah.
Jodi's going to be in custody. So, I think 4 o'clock on Friday is going to work for Jodi just fine. I'm going back in the calendar to see what day of the week that was. August 30th was a Wednesday. So he wasn't going to come in for the meeting till Friday. So Jodi, is that good with you? Are you available? Wow.
Jodi there, I presume.
Yes.
Okay. And you are supposed to announce yourself and explain the purpose. Could you at least explain that to Jodi while I'm on the phone?
Not.
He says you're not supposed to announce yourself and tell Jodi the purpose of the search and what your exigent circumstances are?
Yeah, but I can do that with you on the phone. But again, there won't be any dialogue. We received a report of an emaciated juvenile that had duct tape around his extremities that was asking for food and water. And based on that information, there are other people in the home, so we're ensuring that there is nobody else in the same condition. So under that exigent C, we've entered the home.
Thank you. I appreciate that,
Yeah.
Lieutenant. We will plan on Friday at 4.
Okay.
Thank you, Lieutenant. I appreciate that. We'll plan on Friday at 4. I'm sorry, but if you're the business attorney, you better get on the phone toot sweet with a criminal lawyer, and a really good one too, because he probably had no idea. Do you think that this lawyer she was talking to had any idea why they were there? In the beginning, he says, oh, Jodi, I'm so sorry. I don't think Jodi told him the truth.
And where were we?
Our police department is 55 North Main Street in Ivins.
Hi, C girl. This is a whole evidence dump was done today in the Jodi Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke case. The both of them, you may recall, pled guilty to 4 counts each of felony CA. In Utah, they had originally been charged with 6 counts of felony CA each, and Ruby pled guilty on December 18th. And she admitted to 4 counts. We went over that. We went over all of the documents. And she also agreed to roll over and testify against Jodi Hildebrandt. Days later, Jodi Hildebrandt also took a plea and pled guilty to the same 4 charges that Ruby Franke pled guilty to. On February 20th of 2024, both women were sentenced. I think I was on vacation, and so we didn't cover that together. And we may go back at some point and look at the little speeches that they gave to the judge and in front of the court, because they were mind-numbing. Narcissism at its very, very best. And both of them were sentenced by the judge to the maximum, which 4 counts of felony CA, 1 to 15 years each, to be served consecutively, meaning one after the other. But under Utah law, sentencing guidelines, the maximum amount of time that a person can serve in Utah consecutively is 30 years for these charges. So there is a maximum of 30 years. Utah has a different system than we are used to here in New York, and the prison time in Utah is going to be determined by the Utah Board of Pardons and Parole. So we don't know really how much they're going to how much time they're going to serve yet. But I think that, so they've been in jail for almost 8 months, 7 months. That's going to be credit for time served, which means that they may come up after 1 year on the first count for some sort of hearing in front of the Utah Board of Pardons and Paroles. If anybody else has any better information on when that's coming up, let me know. But after all this evidence has been released to the public, you can bet that the citizens of Utah and the citizens of Washington County are going to be out there in full force, making sure that they stay right where they are and that they don't see the light of day anytime soon. The prison they were originally held in before sentencing is called Purgatory, very fittingly, Purgatory Correctional Center in Washington County. So what we are watching now is the original body cam footage from when law enforcement went to Jodi Hildebrandt's house in Ivins after the 12-year-old Frankie boy escaped to the neighbor and called 911.
Did you hear that, Adam?
I did, yeah. And Jodi, officer, thank you. I don't know if you saw the call.
Yeah, no, we're here.
Okay. Jodi, we'll just plan on 4 o'clock on Friday. And Ruby's on her way down for the children, right?
Yeah.
Huh. He says, Jodi, yeah, we'll just plan on 4 o'clock Friday, okay? And Ruby's on her way down for the children, right? And she's like, yeah. Wow, we're going to see some body cam footage of Ruby getting arrested too. And we're going to see some footage of Ruby being interviewed down at the precinct, and it's going to shock you.
Okay. Actually, before I hang up, officer, can I talk to Jodi just briefly?
Absolutely. I will walk away and you are on your own.
Yeah. When Ruby comes and takes her, I think they're going to take her. I think they're going to take her.
She's talking about Ruby, and she's telling him, I think they're going to take her. I think they're going to take her.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
I'll stand at that door. I'll stay at the door, okay? Okay.
If I'm not repeating, it's just because I can't understand what they're saying. But now it's muted. Thanks, Miku, who says,
That's what I'm doing. All I know is that someone needs to go draft a search warrant. So that's probably. I just want to do that based on his info. You got her.
He's straight in there.
Yeah, I can't hear what anybody's saying right now. Sorry, guys. It's going to go on for a little while longer with her just standing there. So see how this part of the video ends.
Information we're gonna. Hey, this are you?
Anything?
Captain, relief captain. Yes, relief captain. He's Hey, this are you still have your attorney on the phone? Okay. I just want to advise you of our intentions. It seems like there's a room we can't get into, and we're getting some conflicting information. We're gonna go draft a search warrant. We'll be right back. Okay.
I guess they're getting conflicting information because perhaps the boy told the officers that they could find his sister or his sisters, because originally he told them 3 sisters were there in that safe room. So he's going to get the search warrant.
What does that mean, a search warrant?
What's that?
What does he mean, a search warrant?
I'm just going to get a warrant from the judge.
You're already here, though.
She says, what do you mean search warrant? He says he's going to get a search warrant for the gun. She says, but you're already here though.
I don't understand what that means.
They'll explain it to you when they give it to you.
Getting conflicting information from.
I don't know. I don't know who they talked to since we've been here.
She's complaining to him that she's getting conflicting information. What a shame for her. Because
Like I said,
she knows exactly what was going on in that home. She's the one with all the information. Are you kidding me?
well, the reason Lieutenant Studley said the reason why we're here is to make sure everybody was okay. That everybody was, the condition we found. The search warrant, I imagine, is going to be do a more in-depth search of the house. Right now, it's just safety and security of the people,
Got it.
making sure they're okay.
No, I see your position.
Yeah.
That's why I'm crying.
Yeah.
I see your position, she says. I see your position. How diplomatic of you, you monster.
I see why you think this is an issue.
Yeah.
I see why you think this is what? What did she just say?
Sorry. I see why you think this is an issue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. If you guys want to go sit down.
Go to the bathroom.
Absolutely. Just have to make sure no one's in the bathroom when I go.
Sure that it was
Yeah.
dead. That was a little intimidating.
Yeah.
You could probably sit on the couch so you're not out here in the sun.
Okay.
If you guys want to go.
Wow. You could probably sit over there on the couch so you don't have to sit out here in the hot sun. I'm going to show you something in a second that did happen out in the hot sun. The torture that they inflicted upon these poor children in the hot sun in Utah when it was about 110 degrees. How nice that the law enforcement, look, they're being really nice to her, and this is not against them at all. But can you imagine that it's like, oh, it might be a little hot out here. Why don't you go sit over there?
Can I go to the bathroom?
Absolutely.
Can I go to the bathroom? Oh, are you going to open the safe room door?
Okay.
I can go right.
So this is where that's kind of going to end. And this is a different video, so I'm going to just stop this for a second. I want to show you something that Kathy Russin posted on Twitter. And I want to just trigger warn you about this. I'm going to read you the caption first. It says, this is footage of the boy picking up trash in a cemetery barefoot. Remember, this is southern Utah in the summer, 100 to 120 degrees. His face is blurred out, as it should be. And there's music playing in the background. That's not me. I didn't put that cheesy music in there. There's music in the background, which makes me think that they found this video on one of those monsters' devices, like a cell phone, and they were sitting in the car in the air conditioning, listening to music in the radio, on the radio, while they were videotaping or taking a video of this 12-year-old boy picking up trash in 120-degree heat, barefoot, in a cemetery in southern Utah. Just when you think it couldn't get any worse. Just when you think it couldn't get any worse. We're going to take a look at the moment that they found Ruby Franke's 9-year-old daughter in the house. Can I get a trigger warning for this? That her face is blurred out and there's nothing graphic about it, but it's very upsetting. There are two videos. There's a video of the male police officer that finds her. And then there's a video of the female EMT who comes to talk to her. Why won't this go full screen? What is wrong with you? All right. YouTube is really glitchy today. Did anybody else notice that? I couldn't post a thumbnail on my laptop. I could only do it on my phone. It's really been very glitchy. All right, everybody take a deep breath. This is entitled Moment Police Find Frankie Child in Closet.
You come in, my buddy. I'm a police officer. Are you going for the union here? Hey, you okay? Is this just you in here? I'm Sergeant Tobler. What's your name? I just have one. Where's your sister at? Contact board. You okay? Huh? You doing okay? You don't want to talk to me? Yeah, that's okay. Can you come with me though? We got Jodi out here. You know Jodi?
Oh my God. He says, can you come out here with me? We got Jodi out here. You want to come out here? Like before, I think that he knows that Jodi is the terrorizer. I didn't pick this up the first time I watched it.
She's outside with us. You take your time, bud. I'm in no hurry. I'm a police officer. Did you know that? I don't mean to hurt you at all. You doing okay? Are you scared? Yeah? You're okay. Do you need help? You want to come with me? No? I'm not going to hurt you. Promise. See this right here? It's a badge. It tells me I don't hurt people. I'm just here to make sure you're okay. You're in no way in any trouble. I'm not here to hurt you. I just want to make sure you're okay. And I get if you're scared. I would be too. Okay? You want to come with me?
It's a closet that they found her in, or Jodi moved her to the closet because she knew that they were coming, but I don't know why it's so empty. I don't know. Maybe it was a closet that wasn't used. There's so much information being dumped today that it's just hard to keep on top. Okay, so here's when the EMT comes in, and she is an angel, this woman.
So can we carry you from there? I promise. Pinky promise.
Closed captions don't work on this, so I'm going to repeat it to you.
So can we carry you from there? I promise. Pinky promise. We
She says, I pinky promise.
helped your brother. And we got him some help too. And that's what we want to do for you. If we want to get you some help too. We are safe. We will not hurt you, and we won't do anything to hurt you. You don't want to talk? Okay. There's nothing at all you want to talk about at all? It's okay to talk to me. Are you scared? What? Just nervous.
Sit down.
After the EMT says, are you scared? She says, I just want to go home. That's the only thing that I could make out that she was saying. But the kindness, the compassion of this EMT is choking me up. I'm rarely speechless, but I'm speechless listening to this. Look at how emaciated she is.
It's okay if I just sit here with you. We don't have to say anything if you don't want to. Okay? I'll just sit here with you. No food? Oh, it's for the desert.
I hear some music playing in the background. I don't know if they're trying to play some music that she likes to try and make her feel comfortable, to try and coax her out. I do know that the hospital record reflected that it took hours and hours for the 9-year-old girl to agree to medical treatment while in the hospital. Dog Lover says, other people that say that she said, I deserve this. I haven't heard that yet, but I do know that the young boy in the 911 call can be heard saying that it's all my fault. It's all my fault.
Yeah, I'll put the screen okay whenever you're ready. There you go. Thanks, Deb.
He brings her some takeout of food and a soda, and I can't even imagine how long it was since the last time she's eaten. It sounds like Maroon 5 in the background is what it sounds like. And then the officer or the EMT or whoever is there trying to, get her to trust him is singing along. And this is so heartbreaking. Remember that on 8 Passengers channel, Ruby Franke loved to use food as a punishment. There's one video that she posted on that channel where she had 4 or 5 kids in line. Each would get a bite of a banana when they got to the front of the line, and that was their reward. And they weren't allowed to eat breakfast unless they did, 3 hours of chores or something before breakfast. And she wouldn't bring this daughter her lunch at school when the teacher called to say that she forgot her lunch that day. And Ruby took great glee in that video she did in her car while she was explaining to her YouTube audience that she was not going to bring her daughter her lunch at school because she was 6 years old and it was her job to pack her lunch at school. And she needs to know what it's like to go hungry, and she needs to suffer, and she needs to experience pain. And she says in that video, I know it would make the teacher more comfortable if I brought her a lunch, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to eat. You can eat all you want to. That's on you.
And this is where it ends. That's where that video ends. There's so much information being dumped today that it is okay. We're only an hour in. We've got a whole bunch more to look at. Let's come to the chat for a minute to see if you guys have any questions, comments, thoughts, concerns. Sherry Davis, thank you so much for the super chat. Sean McDonough, Joan interview last night. Must see. They both spoke highly of you. Oh, that's very nice. Thank you. We'll catch tonight's replay later. I now understand the backstory of Justice for JJ Pins. Thank you so much, Sherry, for that super chat referring to the Karen Reed case. Dina Jam, thank you for becoming a member. Thank you, Denise, for your super sticker. Kirsten, thank you for being a member for 4 months. Julie Markham, thanks for the super chat. Thanks for covering this with the sensitivity these poor children deserve. I just, this breaks my heart. Thank you for appreciating that. Wendy Lombard, thank you so much for your generous $10 super chat. I hope they never get out of prison. I think a lot of us are hoping that as well. Tammy Truth and Justice, thanks for your super chat. Melanie, thank you for bringing attention to these cases. You are the voices for the voiceless. I try. Thank you. Amiku's Headphones looked this up or knows this and says that the Board of Pardons and Parole Administrative Rule R671-201-1, which is the original hearing schedule and notice, the board is required to hold the original parole hearing after serving 6 months of their sentence. They get credit for time served, though, so I don't know how that factors into the 6 months. So, yeah, I guess the latest would be 6 months after February 20th. which would be this upcoming August, which would be 1 year from the arrest. Natalie, thank you so much for the super chat. Did I watch Sean last night and about the life of John O'Keefe? The woman, Joan, talk highly about you as a nice story. No, you know what? I caught part of it. I was in there for a part of it. I'll have to go back and watch the rest of it. But thank you. That was very nice of them to speak nicely of me. Thank you. Jane, thank you for becoming a member. And back to see if we have any questions here or anything else of note. Let's look at the body cam footage of Ruby getting arrested, shall we? That's up next.
Actually, is it restroom? Do you have a
Yeah,
phone
no,
number?
go ahead.
Okay.
Is there a restroom right here? Or
I don't know where it's at.
wherever you use this?
Okay. Yeah, there is one in there. Thank you, sir. I mean, LT.
Kimbers, Ohio says, Melanie, thanks for covering this. I missed a lot of the trial and didn't truly understand the depth of this. There was no trial, actually. They both pled guilty. So this is the document, not document dump, but more like body cam dump and evidence dump of everything that was uncovered during the investigation. So he didn't miss a trial. Don't worry about that. But this is horrifying. I don't know if I just muted when I took myself off the screen, but I was going to tell Kimbers, Ohio, that you didn't miss the trial. There was no trial. They pled guilty, and so here we are with the evidence dump.
I'm out. That's just really loud. What's that?
It's an alarm. You want to turn it off?
Yeah, where's it at?
She seems really annoyed, and she says, "That's my alarm. You want to turn it off? It's really loud." The only nice thing I can say about this video being released is look at that gorgeous view outside the window. My God.
I didn't know those are connected to it. I'll put it back up there. Thank you. Is there a lock on? Or is that the lock right there? Turn down there. You good? Yeah. Okay. What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said something. He was yelling something to him. I apologize.
How are you? All right, well, it feels good in here. So, hey, Ruby, at this time, I know you said that you're already detained, but I'm going to be taking you back to the police department. Okay, so I'm going to be hop up. See if I can fit through here.
You want to put on one of our vehicles?
Yeah, you want to. Okay, just place your hand behind your back for me. Perfect. And then right now, I can put a finger in each of these, okay? And I'm just going to double up those so they don't tighten up on you on the way out there.
I think this is at Jodi's house. I think this is another part of Jodi's house. Does anybody know for sure? But I think that she came back there. I don't know where she was, but when Jodi was on the phone talking to her lawyer, she said Ruby's coming back, but I think they're going to take her away. This house, when we looked at the aerial view of it, if you weren't here for that part of it, rewind later and go back and watch it. But it looks like there's a bunch of different sort of wings to this house. So there may be separate living areas and separate parts of the house. Oh, this is the casita. Okay, thank you. Wait, is that where allegedly the Airbnb people were supposed to be? Or was she lying and saying that Ruby was the Airbnb person? Huh.
Where's your car?
It's out there.
Yeah.
About by the command.
Thanks, Jerry.
You don't have anything on you that I should know about, correct? Any weapons, anything that we're gonna find. Before you put you in a police vehicle, we need to search your person to make sure you don't have anything on you. Is there anything you have on you? Okay, I'm gonna search you before we put you in his car. That's just protocol, so I'm just gonna have you step right over here and then just widen your legs, widen your stance. Yep, perfect. Are you wearing a bra? Okay, I'm just gonna go like this through and make sure
Are you wearing a bra? No, she's not wearing a bra. She's not wearing a bra.
you don't have anything. You said you're not wearing a bra? Okay. Is that just like a tank top under here? Okay. Just gonna lift up your hair. Okay. All right, you're just gonna walk with Officer Hines,
You'll go out this way.
and then hey, Hines.
You want me this way or that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you want to go down the downstairs,
Yeah.
into the interview room downstairs.
Sounds good.
You going down or I'm going down? You're going down. I'll come to the store for you.
I appreciate it. I was gonna ask you to come turn my car off, but I'm leaving now, so we're good. It's still on. Thank you. Yeah.
I'll come help you.
Okay. Hey, hold on. Well. If you want to ask,
I got you.
just so we can tell them who we're taking down there.
What a stunning place. Stunning.
Ruby? Okay. We'll go this way. Car one. Yeah, Captain. She told me transfer it down, then she'll meet me there.
Yeah. Take me in your car, then
Okay. Appreciate it. Ruby, what's your last name? Just so I could tell them when I'm transferring. Okay. Control traffic 13. I'll be transferring Ruby to number 12. I'll give you my beginning here in a minute.
It's muted right now. Yep, and that's what the kids walked on barefoot.
I'll come back and grab it after they get back here. You guys got it? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, brown hammer. I thought it was pink. All right. Thanks, sir. Bye. Okay, come on out, please. We'll go that way towards that door. What's that? Downstairs in the interview room. So I could have gone that way, but appreciate you opening the door. We'll take these stairs right here. All right. And we'll look down this hall. This next one, right here. Right here. And we'll go ahead and I can remove those stuff right here. Go to down and remove them. This way, yeah. Okay, go ahead and have a seat.
A lot of buzzing. This footage must be officer's phone or something buzzing that's close to the microphone.
Okay, she'll be here shortly, okay?
Thanks. Just so he comes out. I'm in my office.
What's that?
You can tell him I'm in my office.
What'd you say about your office?
Just tell Sylvie I'm in here when he comes out. If he's,
Oh, okay.
because he's gonna do interviews with me.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You want your cuff back? She is definitely not a talker.
She's not. Neither is anyone.
Even if I ask her a name or
Okay.
just like, let me ask him about things, she looks at me and goes,
Tell the other ones.
what's that?
Tell the other ones.
Really?
Yeah, I'm very curious. I'm gonna have you come sit on this side for me. Thank you. Was this your order? I'm gonna.
It's yours if you want it. We'll say that. How's that?
We also have
Okay, here she is in the interrogation room. They're going to try and get her to talk. You're going to see this attitude and then compare this with the attitude you saw her when she gave her, come to Jesus speech at the sentencing all the way back in February about her, how she had so much remorse and how she's seen the light while she's been in prison.
snacks if you need anything to eat. So I know I introduced myself to you earlier, but my name is Detective Bates, and this is Sergeant Tobler. We're just here to talk to you about kind of a few things involving your kids. So first, do you live down here, or? Or do you live up north?
She's just giving her a blank stare. And she is almost catatonic. I don't know if she's medicated. I don't know if she's on anything, but she is catatonic. She's non-responsive and she's just with the blank stare.
Do you want to talk to me about where you live or how many kids you have? So we just spoke with your husband, and he said you guys have 6 kids. Are those all together? Are those all your kids? I can wait all day, so it's up to you if you want to talk to us about.
Oh, I love that. I can wait all day. It's up to you. If you want to talk to us, she's got a lot in common with Olivia Benson. It's also very common in the interrogation room.
About what's going on. Would you feel more comfortable talking to one of us?
Maybe you want me to, I can step out if you want.
Or if you feel more comfortable talking to him, I can step out.
I'll wait till I have a lawyer.
Okay. So you don't want to talk to us at all? Do you want to answer that? Or you don't want to talk to us about anything?
So yeah, this is just your chance to tell us. We're just trying to get your side of the story. So it's your chance to do that. But it's up to you. We're just here to talk. And I mean, I'm not asking any criminal questions. If you don't want to talk to us, just let us know and we'll be done.
I've already told you.
That you want a lawyer? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Easy enough.
Thank you.
Is there anything else I can get for you in the meantime? I got the water. Do you need a bathroom break or anything like that? No? Okay.
No, they're being very accommodating and trying to keep her comfortable while they try and get her to talk, but she's not having any of that. She wants her lawyer. Jodi has trained her well. Jodi has trained her very well. Let's take a look at some of the Jodi footage because now we've just seen the Ruby footage. So there's some of the Jodi interrogation room footage as well. This is after they remove her from the house. We just saw her getting questioned at her house. Take a look at this.
Can be expected. How long you lived here in Islands? 11 minutes?
6 years.
6 years. The same house? You married? Single?
Where'd you move from?
Utah County.
And how?
All right, I'm going to start that again because the closed captions were covered. So YouTube is glitching right now and it won't even go full screen. So we have to make do and do the best we can without a producer, you know, one woman show and all. All right, here we go.
Can be expected. How long you lived here in Islands? 11 minutes?
6 years.
6 years. The same house? You married? Single?
Where'd you move from?
Utah County.
And how long were you up there for?
I'm a little nervous.
You're
She moved from Utah County. That's where Ruby Franke's family home was in Springville. I believe that is also, correct me if I'm wrong, friends, where Pam Botcher's house was in American Fork. That's Utah County, correct? So is she going to say that she was living? Well, she's lived in that house for 6 years, she said. But I think there was a period of time also when she lived in Ruby Franke's house in Springville. We're going to hear what Kevin has to say after this.
You know, to be honest with you, if I was sitting over there, I'd be a little nervous too. So don't worry about it. We're just here to talk, to get your side. And right now we're just asking you just typical questions, like how long you lived here, that kind of thing.
I watched too many detective movies.
How yeah.
Which one's your favorite?
Me too. You can't honestly. I sit there and I'm married, and I sit there and watch those with my wife, and I say, like, we don't. That's not how we do it. That's not right. So don't take. There's some good ones out there. Don't get me wrong, but most of them are probably a little off base. We're not as mean. I won't get up and beat you up. We don't do that.
We just want to get to know you a little. So if you just kind of want to share a little about yourself and what brought you down here. And
So I trust my attorney. He said, don't say anything. And I said, I have nothing to hide. And he's like, I know that, but just let me be there with you when we talk. So you guys seem nice people.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm not trying to be difficult. This is really, if you knew all the pieces, I think you'd have a lot of empathy.
If you knew all the pieces, I think you'd have a lot of empathy, she says. I've got nothing to hide, but if you knew all the pieces, I think you'd have a lot of empathy. Why? Because these children were evil and they deserved what I did to them. They needed this. She is one sick. I don't curse on this channel, and you know it, but you know the word I want to say next. It has MFing.
Well,
What's going on?
That's really what we're.
that's what we're looking for. And you're an adult. And the thing about our interview, if we ask you any questions that you don't want to answer, you can just tell us, I don't want to answer that question. But we do want to have a basis and an understanding of what's going on in that home. or what went on up north that brought them into your home. And so if you want to share any of that and you don't want to answer any other questions, that's okay.
I'd like to just tell you, but I don't know who you are. I don't know if you're gonna flip my words. I don't know.
And that's the good thing about cameras. Everything, it's pretty much double recorded, audio, video, and it's for the safety of for you and for us, because we don't want to flip your words. And this will all be pretty much right there to support you. So we're not going to use anything against you.
Be so insistent then. He's an honest, good man. Goes to church. I trust him. Why would he?
Church. He's with the church. I trust him. My lawyer. Why would he tell me not to talk to you? I want to tell you everything because I really think that once you hear all the pieces, you're going to have a lot of empathy. Wow. Just wow.
You say that to me then?
I don't know your attorney, to be honest.
Well, I'm just saying he's a
a
good, honest man.
Yeah,
And I'm an honest person as well, so we get along great. And he just said, do not say anything.
I'm an honest person as well. I'm just a child beater. Really? Is that what you're going with, Jodi? You're an honest person as well? Wow. BL said she has large hands. Imagine getting smacked across the face with one of those hands. Like a 2x4.
Maybe just as an attorney,
They always say that.
they always want to be with their client. I'm not sure, but like I said, at any time, if you don't want to answer a question, you don't have to. So the ball's really in your court on what you do want to answer and what you don't. So,
Well, I think it looks sad that I don't want to answer anything, but it's not because I'm trying to be difficult. I'm really hanging on what he told me to do.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, who's your attorney?
Adam,
He's such a great man and he goes to church and he's so honest and that's why we get along so well and she doesn't even remember his last name.
his father's an attorney, his brother's an attorney.
Is he local?
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know.
He's local, but he can't come in till Friday? And it's only Wednesday? Is this the same attorney that she was talking to on the phone? Adam Levine, yeah. Adam Levine. Yeah. Yeah, Adam, what's his face? Great guy. Listen, you guys keep me laughing in the chat, and there's like nothing funny about this case at all. So when we can kind of find a little comic relief, we're going to take it where we can. So thank you for keeping me laughing, because this, if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. But of course, prayers for all of the Franke children. May they heal. May they get all of the medical treatment and therapy and all of the help that they need in order to try and live a normal life and to somehow be able to overcome this horrific abuse that will take years and years. It will never be undone, but to maybe sort of live some sort of life where they can be happy after what these monsters did to them, one of them being their own mother.
The street where the town hall is.
Well,
They all have the same name.
the whole reason we're sitting here today is there's a lot of questions we have that we just maybe misunderstandings that we just need to clarify. And
I know, and I'd love to tell you if you were here, because I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with what I say. You know, I'm a psychologist. I've watched people flip things all the time. So I get it.
She's not a psychologist, by the way. She's a licensed mental health counselor in the state of Utah. She was until she surrendered her license after she was imprisoned because she was forced to. Should you just say I'm a psychologist? I know there are a lot of mental health professionals in the chat. Could you please tell everyone, chime in here, that she is not, there's a difference. Thank you, Rabbit. She is not a psychologist. She's already lying. Let's just take a rewind on that. A couple seconds.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with what I say. You know, I'm a psychologist. I've watched people flip things all the time. So I get it. I sit on your side. I get it.
You watch people flip things all the time, like when they tell you that they don't have an addiction to, I'm going to call it dirty magazines, because this stream has already gotten the yellow $ as being unfriendly to advertisers, despite the fact that I have been meticulous to not show anything graphic or say anything graphic. YouTube has, a policy. So we're going to call it, okay, so you sat on the other side of the table when men were on the other side of the table telling you, no, I don't have an addiction to dirty magazines. And you said, oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do. You need to go into the group. You need to go into my men's group for all the other men just like you that have addiction to dirty films and magazines. And in fact, she would put young boys in those groups too. She's a whack job.
Wish people didn't do that, but they do.
Well, if you're not willing to answer any of the questions about yourself, would you be willing to answer any questions maybe about Ruby or Kevin that you could help us understand? We just honestly want to understand what their dynamic is, what happened to the children, what caused their separation.
Right.
And after talking to Kevin, it sounds like you know a lot about their dynamic and their relationship. So if you could help us understand that at the least.
Because you caused their dynamic in their relationship and you allegedly forced him out, and he hasn't been living with his children or even seen his children for over a year at this point, August 30th of 2023, because Jodi said so.
That would be awesome. And that's nothing incriminating towards yourself because it's not pertaining to you. So if you could help us understand that.
Jodi, we're going to do this. You asked for your attorney, and we'll leave it at that. We'd like to maybe talk to you later when you have your attorney here present.
Absolutely.
And we'll
He
go
made
down.
an appointment at 4 on
He made
Friday
an appointment
here.
here at 4.
He talked to the officer
Okay.
and said, "Can we make a time?" And he said out loud, "Do not talk to them."
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll talk and see if we can schedule that, and maybe that's just something we just do with your attorney. Okay. Do you have any questions for us? I can answer in the meantime.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Appreciate your time. We'll have you hang tight in here, and then we'll come back and get you, and we'll be on our way. Okay.
Yeah, we'll come back and get you, and we'll have that meeting on Friday at 4 p.m. So sit tight, sweetie pie. We're going to, you can hang tight till Friday in a cell with less food than you fed those children. How about that? All right, we're gonna now take a look. Apparently, they interviewed Kevin Franke in the other room before they interviewed Jodi because they referenced that interview. Let's take a look at that, because this is telling. This is going to be interesting. We're going to learn a lot of stuff here, a lot of stuff about their relationship. We're going to learn that he met Ruby about 12 days before this arrest, because Ruby wanted him to sign over the title to the car or cars. And you may remember what happened with Shari Franke this same day. She went over to the house because there's one of the last streams I did. We looked at the body cam footage where the police went to Pam Botra's house in American Fork, where the other daughters were found. And they were at work, and Ruby called Pam Botra and said, "Can you go get I have an emergency. Can you go pick up my kids?" So Pam Botra does, and she has them scrubbing floors at her house because she's got guests coming over. And apparently this was a very common thing to do, lend out your children to clean other people's homes and do other types of forced labor. Some people in some of my comments on one of my streams actually thought that was okay for punishment for children. But in any event, that day, Shari Franke goes to the Springville home to get some stuff for her brother and sister who are now in the hospital, and for the two older girls who she now has custody of. At this point, she was about 20. She was a student at BYU. She was very, very outspoken on Instagram and all other social media about what was going on with her mother and how she had been trying for years to get somebody to listen to her about the abuse that was going on there. She went the day after, the 31st, she goes to the Springville home with the Department of Children and Family Services, the DCFS caseworker, to the home to retrieve some clothes and personal effects for all four of the children. Two were in state custody in southern Utah in the hospital, and two were in the custody of Shari in northern Utah. And she took some things from the house, a couple of laptops, a couple of electronic devices. And the next day, Kevin, who has already moved back into the house at this point, tries to have Shari arrested for burglary and is complaining that his house was damaged, that the door was broken or like banged down with like a battering ram, because the police did that during the search. And we have some body cam footage of that we looked at during one of the streams too. So for those people who like to defend this man who willingly abandoned his children for more than a year at the point where he's questioned here, I say to you, be respectful in the comments, because I have no sympathy for this guy. I don't care who told him to do what. How about this? Man up and look after your kids and find out where your kids are. He had no contact with them in a year. Let's hear what he's got to say for himself.
Just let you know, I am going to read the Miranda rights before we start. We're just kind of ask you a few questions about your involvement. Okay, so first, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be held against you in the court of law. Okay, you have the right to an attorney or to have him or her present while questioning. If you cannot afford to hire one will be hired to represent.
Okay, so the timestamp on this video is 5:50 p.m. Utah, which I believe is Mountain Time, on August 30th of 2023, the day of the arrest, the day that the young Frankie boy escaped to the neighbor's house in Ivins, the day that his sister was rescued from that house of horrors, and his two other sisters were recovered from Pam Botcher's house. Ruby, I think, called Kevin and told him, you need to come and get the kids. And he had no idea that his kids, two of them, were living 4 hours away in Jodi Hildebrandt's house of horrors in Ivins. So let's hear what he's got to say for himself. And she's Mirandizing him right off the bat, reading him his rights.
You. If you decide to answer questions, you can stop at any time. Okay? Do you understand your rights?
I do.
Okay. Do you wish to speak to me now?
Well, I want to pick up my kids.
How about this? We're going to ask you some questions, and if you don't want to answer them, you just say, hey, man, I'm not going to answer that.
Sure.
And
You just say, hey, I'm not going to talk. That's not beneficial to you, and then we're done. There's nowhere, and we're nowhere. And
Sure.
you understand that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so just for starters, what was your full name?
Kevin William Franke.
How to spell that?
KEVIN WILLIAM FRANKE.
And what's your date of birth?
It's muted right now. It's not you.
What's a good address for you?
I'm not comfortable giving my address right now.
You've been Mirandized. Your children have just been tortured, and you're not comfortable giving your address right now? Really?
Okay. But you do live in Springville?
I do.
How long have you lived in Springville for?
I moved there in 2007 with my family. So
Okay. And how many?
17 years.
17. And how many kids do you have, Kevin?
I have 6 kids.
And what are their names?
Janelle says, wait until you see his reaction when they tell him you can't know where your kids are. Okay, well, let's watch for that. Aaron says he doesn't know about the torture yet. Yes, agreed, Sandy. There are fanatics in every culture and religion. We are not going to make this about the LDS faith or the Mormon church, but I'm going to point out to you, and it's 100% confirmed, that Jodi Hildebrandt was a therapist that was referred by
Some of them are teenagers,
referred by Mormon church elders and Mormon leaders and paid by the Mormon church. But there are bad actors in every religion.
So are they all living with you, or
No, I haven't seen them for over a year.
any of them
No, none of them.
for a year?
Over a year.
Okay.
I've been in a separation
from who?
from my wife and family.
What's your wife's name?
Ruby.
Ruby. When was the last time you saw Ruby?
The last time I saw her
Yeah.
was the 18th of this month. We met she requested me to sign over vehicles, or the titles to the vehicle that she drives, that were all in my name.
Okay, so he met her on the 18th. This is the 30th. To sign over the titles. So there's more than one car. She wants him to sign over the titles to all the cars. You think Jodi was behind that at all? Trying to get all the assets, trying to get everything in her name? There's been a lot of speculation about Jodi trying to get at Ruby's money. That's why she wanted to partner with her in this business. She wanted all the followers. She wanted all the cash.
When's the last time you physically saw Russell or Eve?
The day that I moved out, July 24th, 2022.
July 24th of 2022 was the last time he saw these two children of his who were just rescued from this house of horrors. Over a year ago was the last time he saw them.
24th of 2022.
Or July 25th, July 25th.
So it's my understanding that at least home here in Kayenta and Ivans, have you been to that home?
No.
You've not been to that home?
No, I don't know. I don't know what's anything that's been going on.
Like, this is good, man. Like, I would love to be able to help you out with this, and like, I'm seeing the light of being able to help, because I'm unaware of your involvement in what's really going on. So for you to say that you're unaware of the status of your kids kind of makes, I know that sounds kind of crummy to you, but it sounds kind of good to me. Like, who lives in that home with your, is it ex-wife? Is it currently a separated wife? Like, who lives in that home with your children?
To be honest, I don't know. I know that she's there with 4 of the children, and our 2 older children have moved out.
He's never been to that house in
They're not
Ivans.
home in Springville. And I'm not trying to trip you up. I can see you're hesitant to talk to me. I understand that.
Well, where I live, no,
Yeah.
I haven't seen them for over a year.
Okay. That's tough. I can only imagine how that feels, man. I got kids. And not seeing them for that long, that would tear a little piece of my heart out.
Of age to drive. Does she drive?
I don't know.
Okay.
Like I said, I know nothing is going on
So-
in their lives or anything going on.
How did you find out that you needed to come here to 55 North Main Street?
I received a message that I needed to come pick up my kids from the police department in Highlands.
And who is that message from?
Well, I prefer not to say right now.
It would just help us a lot.
He's not going to tell them who called him to come pick up his kids. I think it was Ruby. I think we know that it's Ruby. I think that maybe that was her one phone call.
I'm trying to figure out who reached out to you, because it makes sense that would happen. I'm just not aware of anyone who did that from our department.
Right. And I'm not comfortable saying right now who reached out to me.
Okay.
Okay.
So You haven't seen any of your kids in over a year, you said.
That's correct.
And then what was the last time you saw her? How old is she now?
15.
She's 16. Okay. And then when all the kids left, Ruby took all of them?
Yeah, she stayed in the house and I moved out.
Okay. And did you ever try to reach out to the kids, drop by the home, or was
I
there?
honored
Did you ever try and talk to the kids, to reach out to the kids, to see the kids? No. No.
separation boundary that we agreed to.
So what
Or
was
no
your separation?
contact boundary, excuse me.
Did you have a no contact order in place?
Order? No, this was between my wife and
So what did Ruby ask of you when you separated?
what did she ask of me?
Did she ask you not to contact the kids?
Ruby invited me to leave the home while I thought about the choices that I've made in my life and the way that I've treated her.
Okay.
And
Ruby invited me to leave the home while I think about the choices I've made in my life and the way that I've treated her. Okay. That's between you and her. I'm sorry, you guys. I just cannot overcome this hurdle of him not contacting his kids. I don't care what him and Ruby decided. I don't care how much brainwashing people think that that Jodi did. I can't overcome this. I just can't. And somebody says here, J. Michael RN, thank you for this comment. I'm sorry, if the genders were reversed, I don't think people would be so harsh. He's acting like an abused spouse. Yeah, I get that, and I do. I totally get that. But I think if the genders were reversed, I think that the woman would make an attempt to try and see her children. I just do. I don't buy his BS here. I really don't. Let me know what you think, guys. What say you?
so I left.
And how long had you and Ruby been married before?
We were married in 2000.
So about 22 years?
When we separated, we were going on 22 years. Yes.
Okay. And during your marriage, how was disciplining your kids? How would you discipline your kids?
Yeah, I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay, that's fine.
Have you been since separated or since they lived here in the city of Ivins? Have you communicated with your wife regarding like disciplining with your kids or their care or their physical well-being?
No.
So is she doing this on her own and just telling you how your kids are?
She's not telling me anything about the kids.
She's not telling me anything about my kids, and I'm not even asking.
I'm a life coach, I know, and she's.
Jodi is a therapist and a life coach. Jodi is the therapist and a life coach. So whatever Jodi says goes, he says.
Respect her?
Do I respect her? Yeah, I think she's a very honest, truthful person, yes.
Okay. You place value on Jodi?
I don't know what that means.
Like do you value what she says and how she treats? Is your wife a client of hers? Is your wife a partner of hers? Is your wife a roommate with her? Your kids are living in her house is what I'm trying to say.
I'm not aware of that, but I know that they've been in business for the last year filming.
Who's they?
Ruby and Jodi. They
Ruby
film podcasts, and so every week a podcast goes up and I listen to it.
What's the
He's still watching their podcast. Every week the podcast goes up and he's watching it. He's watching it. And he can't tell that something's a little off. This interview right here may hurt him in his custody proceeding. He's trying to get custody of these kids. And this may hurt him. Because there's more. There's an audio interview as well. And that says some really crazy stuff about Jodi being possessed by the devil and having these visions and all this stuff that he was aware of. So this is a problem for him in the custody proceeding.
Name
Just
of it,
saying.
Connections with an X.
like CON.
CONNEXIONS. Yeah.
And then, like, do you support them in that role in doing that and having?
Do I support them in the business?
Yeah, like, do you support them and think that what they're doing is a good thing, or
Yeah, I support their business efforts. I think it's a good thing.
are you involved with their business efforts, or
No.
so just Ruby and Jodi? No
In
Kevin.
the business?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And were you involved in the 8 passengers account with your family?
Yes. I was in the videos, and if that's what you mean.
I briefly learned about this 2 hours ago.
So did Ruby more so do the videos for the family?
Mm-hmm.
And how long did you guys do that for?
She started the channel in 2015, and as far as
She started the channel in 2015. I think it was both of you guys, but you can try and distance yourself now because you were involved in a lot of those videos and a lot of those punishments that you published for the entire YouTube world to see and your 2.3 million followers, subscribers.
I'm aware, from the time I left, the last video she uploaded was towards the end of 2021.
Okay.
And again, I'm not aware of anything she's done since our separation.
Okay, so I was right about that. The 8 Passengers channel came down, I think, beginning 2022. The last video she posted on 8 Passengers was end of 2021.
I don't visit 8 Passengers anymore.
Chapter of your life that's gone.
It's a past chapter, yeah.
So how do you and Ruby communicate? Just through text, phone call?
Through text, and if there's anything considered an emergency, we agreed that we would communicate through a phone call.
Okay. And do you know her phone number off the top of your head?
The top of my head, no.
I love this female detective's questioning. I love how she's trying to pull information out of him without letting him know that she's trying to pull information. Oh, do you know her phone number? How did you guys communicate? So was it through text? She's lining up in her head all of the evidence that she wants to start requesting and getting warrants for, and getting from carriers and cell phone carriers, and what devices she needs to put in the warrants that they need to find. She's excellent at what she does. Let me know, my law enforcement friends in the chat, what you think about her style, because I really like her.
Okay, no worries. So how often would you guys communicate while she was down here?
Well, I don't know how often or long she was down here. We've communicated maybe 4 times in 2023 since January.
So are you aware of how she disciplines the kids?
Wait, I missed it because I was thinking of what I was going to say to you guys. Did he say he doesn't know his wife's cell phone number? Okay. Wow.
Or how she handles
No.
the kids with behavioral issues or anything like that?
No.
So you're unaware of how she does that?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware of the physical condition of your children?
No. No. I've chosen to trust my wife with the children.
I've chosen to trust my wife with the children. Keep all this in mind because this is all coming in for the custody proceedings.
That was part of the agreement of our separation.
Is that you allow her to physically provide for the needs of the child? You're just removed from that, or you pay support? I know this is personal questions, but
No, yes, my job is to financially provide for
I'm just trying to figure out like how much of a
My job is to financially provide for them and pay the bills. That's all I'm good for, folks. I'm like a bank account. I'm like the ATM of Ruby and my children that I don't care enough to try and see. And I have no idea what physical condition they're in. I didn't even know they were living in Utah. I mean, living in Ivins, detective. I had no idea. Haven't seen them in a year. Haven't even tried to. but I watch their podcast every week. I do that. And he didn't think that that podcast, where was it being filmed? In Jodi's house in Ivans, but he's never been to Jodi's house, but he didn't notice that it was a different area, didn't think to ask where his kids were. Nope. Nosy, I'm with you. Can't. She's like, I can't with this man.
What role do you play in the caretaking of specifically, is it of those two kids?
I pay the bills.
Okay.
With my job, I provide the money, goes into a shared bank account, and that's my only involvement.
Okay. Like, there's a whole bunch of things I want to talk to you about, but I still can't get over the fact that someone notified you to come here to pick up your kids. My guess is, was that Jodi?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay.
All I'll say is,
well, you said you
notified
trusted her. You said that you think that she's not necessarily. I asked you if you placed value on her, but you obviously.
She is an honest. I know her to be an honest and a trustworthy individual, and so yeah, I trust her. And I received a communication that.
It's muted.
And so I left immediately from my job and drove down here. That's all I know. I've come to pick up my kids and to take them home with me.
He was a professor at BYU, correct? And I believe he lost his job after this. If anybody else can correct me on that. At the time of this interview, on the date of the arrest, August 30th of 2023, was he still employed as a professor at BYU? I remember once we went over the Rate My Professor ratings for him, and they weren't great.
Yeah, is there custodial paperwork that says that you're like a? There's no custodial paperwork denying you of rights, correct?
There's no custodial paperwork at all.
Period.
Right. Nothing's denying you of rights. Nothing's preventing you from seeing your children. There's no legal separation that was ever filed. Nobody ever filed for divorce. You had every right to see your children whenever you wanted to, and you chose not to, willing you, didn't you, sir? Yep. Right, Maureen. No. Well, how are my kids? Something wrong? He's not even asking. They haven't told him yet, clearly, because they asked him, right? Do you know what kind of condition your children are in? You're right. He never mentions it. Doesn't even bring it up.
So the kids are yours.
They are mine.
Okay.
Yes. This wasn't just a verbal agreement between my wife and I when we separated last year.
What questions do you have?
Oh, I want to know what's going on and why I was asked to come down and pick up my two kids.
Well,
And a lot of that kind of hinges on who asked you, because if we had been the one, like, I'm not going to say you fit, but I'm confident a cop didn't call you because we wouldn't have wanted you down here at this point in our investigation. So, having said that, I think it's time we be honest with you, right?
Sure. No, and I didn't lie.
Okay, so I haven't watched this in its entirety now, so this is genuine reaction from me. He won't tell them who called him to come down to the precinct to pick up his children. That's what he thinks he's there to do, but they're in the hospital, and that's not why he's there. But he never asks what's wrong with his children. He just thinks he's there. He doesn't know what happened, and now they're going to tell him what happened. So let's see what his reaction is, just like my reaction and your reaction if you haven't seen this.
Someone contacted me, but I don't want to say without.
From your office, but okay.
Well, I don't recall saying someone from my office.
Our office.
No.
someone, yeah, so we don't know who called you. So if we knew who called you, then we could help you,
It would make more sense.
but
Well, I don't know the legal ramifications of implicating individuals who contacted me. So without a lawyer here, I don't want to answer that question.
That's okay.
I
But
appreciate
you want to know specifics of the case, which we can't share right now because it's under investigation. So
I see.
yeah, so we would like to ask questions about where you found out, but we'll respect that if you don't want to share that information. But I am curious, when you guys had the previous 8 Passengers YouTube channel, you guys got a lot of heat for neglect and child abuse. A lot of people commented those things on there. Why?
This detective is so well prepared coming into this interview, having done her due diligence on the 8 Passengers channel, knowing that there was a lot of heat on them about neglect and about CA, and that a lot of people there was even a change.org petition to try and get them off of YouTube. She knows all this already. This is only hours into the investigation. So prepared.
Are they commenting those things?
That's a good question. We had a son who was acting out in very selfish behavior.
Is this Chad or a different
Yes,
Chad?
this was Chad. And none of this is strange or odd. You could get on YouTube and find out all sorts of stuff.
Okay, so now he's going to start to talk about Chad. Remember, Chad was forced to sleep on a beanbag for about 8 months. We watched some of those videos in the early videos of this case that I covered with you. And isn't it interesting that he's going to say that the reason that people were complaining about our YouTube videos is because of Chad, because we had a son who was acting out in very selfish behavior right away. His gut is to blame his child.
Behavior.
Is this Chad or a different
Yes,
Chad?
this was Chad. And none of this is strange or odd. You could get on YouTube and find out all sorts of stuff on this.
It's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, the question is, what do you believe, right? There was even an article written in Newsweek magazine in 2020 on it, or was it Newsweek? No, Business Insider, where we were interviewed, and we were pretty straightforward when we talked about it, and we shared our piece in that. Basically, it boils down to...
They were interviewed for Business Insider. All right, that's something I'm going to need to look up in 2020. All right, note to self.
He was being very cruel and mean to his siblings that he shared a room with. And so we removed him from the room. And we said, you can sleep anywhere you want. Sleep on the couch, sleep on the pull-out bed, sleep on the floor for all we care, but you're not sleeping in that room with your brother.
It's muted. Welcome, Ronnie.
He chose to sleep on a beanbag. So 9 months later, he had made a lot of changes in his life. And he was ready to, and we had moved by that time. And so we had a new house, and he was ready to move into his own bedroom. Made a video about it. And in the video, he mentioned something to the effect of, I've been sleeping for 9 months on a beanbag. And that is what all the uproar was about.
What did you guys do to help, with his behavioral issues? Is that something you and Ruby talked about together? And then did you?
It's muted.
Helping you discover yourself and fix behavioral issues and things like that. Is that something you and Ruby sought out to help correct, some of the things?
Yes,
Okay.
And I supported it. And so together we held boundaries for our son.
Held boundaries for our son.
To support his choosing honest and responsible choices. And when he chose honest and responsible choices consistently is when he began to get his privileges back. And that was
parenting, right?
Oh, that was the uproar, right?
Yeah.
And so, but yes, through 2000.
It's muted. Right, Angela. He did a prank on his little brother that they were going to Disneyland. Oh, the horror and cruelty, his ultimate sin. It's muted still. Right, Sandy? It wasn't just the beanbag. Gen X Pop says he made changes because you broke him, Kevin. That's right, Rich. Shonda Vander Ark killed.
With him because I'm honoring the no contact separation.
This deserves to be read, so I'm going to just stop it and read this. Rich says, Shonda Vander Ark killed her kid doing the same thing Jodi and Ruby did to their kids, and Shonda was an attorney who aced her bar exam. Yep. And thank God that the young Frankie boy had the courage to get out of there and run to the neighbors, because this story could have turned out just like the Shonda Vander Ark story.
Boundary with that I agree to with my wife, but I understand that he's 18, living on his own somewhere in Provo and working and supporting himself.
What other kids went down to visit Jodi?
What other kids?
Yeah, did you send any of the other kids down to spend time with Jodi?
Down to spend time with Jodi. They would meet on Zoom.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, we were in spring stuff. Well, even in 2019, she would meet with.
So when did Ruby and Jodi, to your knowledge, like decide to collaborate, come together and mesh lives? Because that's what's happened.
Well, they decided to start a business.
Enmeshment. There's a term for you, enmeshment. And that's what the detective's getting at. Excellent. Excellent questioning.
In 2021.
So while you and Ruby were together.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but there were, at that period it was pretty nebulous. I don't know.
What's that word mean?
It was just a lot of talk, and there weren't like solid plans. It was, let's start by doing podcasts together, and then that's all I know. I know that they published a book together recently. You can find on Amazon. It's not a secret.
He's plugging the book. They published a book together recently. You can find it on Amazon. It's not a secret in case you want to buy it and support my lifestyle. Is that book still out there? Anybody know?
Was business thriving? Like life was good between those two?
Well, not that I was aware.
Well, at some point, and again, I'm not digging into your life, but I'm trying to understand this. At some point,
they
kick you out.
When you talk about a business, thriving in terms of business and money, when we stopped 8 passengers on YouTube, we lost 90% of our income. So we said that business was thriving.
We lost 90% of our income. Ruby Franke has said publicly on the Connections website in one of those videos that I was making millions and millions of dollars on YouTube, and I willfully gave it up because I needed to learn about truth and distortion, and I needed to teach everyone about truth and distortion. We listened to some of those videos, and they were chilling, and some of those podcasts where they talk about children being punished and how it was so necessary. We lost 90% of our income when she quit YouTube. You could tell he's mad.
In my perspective, no. I don't think it ever was. After that.
Was that part of your guys' reason for separation after you guys ended 8 passengers?
Was that part of the reason? The reasons are because of ways that I treated my wife, and some of my own addictions that I was working through and seeking help on with pornography.
There it is. There it is. He had that addiction. He had that addiction to dirty magazines and dirty movies, apparently. Did he really, or was he just convinced by Jodi Hildebrandt, the puppeteer?
Thank you for sharing that.
And I've made some wonderful progress.
Like, is that something you came to the realization that you needed help and weren't doing things right, or is that something that like Jodi helped you guys recognize that maybe Ruby needed more? I'm trying to understand.
He sees what's going on here. He's not he's picking up what he's laying down. Wait, is this something that you decided on your own that you had this problem, or is this something that Jodi convinced you of, manipulated you?
Her involvement in your guys' life. She's my focus, so just to be honest.
I understand, and I can perceive that. Jodi and Ruby have a close relationship, and Jodi saw the need for me to get help, and frankly, I agree. The space has been exactly what I need to face, my own addictions and.
Helen says, be quiet. We can hear. It's called fair use. I have to comment on the video. I have to be a commentator. And that is why we're allowed to watch it together. If you'd like to watch it without my commentary, you can go to the channel where it lives to see that. But sorry, that's what we do here. And that's what we have to do here. It's the way it goes.
And receive the support and help that I've needed. And so this space has been very, very good for me.
So when you stated that you and Ruby had this no contact that you guys just verbally agreed upon, was that an idea given by Jodi that she recommended you guys have that space and not contact one another?
I'm not aware of that. The invitation for me to leave and take space was from my wife.
Okay.
But that was while Jodi and Ruby were friends and collaborating and doing podcasts and
Sure.
Well, you're the custodial parent of the children. I don't see why we can't explain to you why we're involved. So I don't recall the exact time, but sometime before 11 o'clock today, we received a phone call from 911 on our dispatch that a 12 to 13-year-old boy was knocking on doors in a neighborhood asking for food and water, that he was severely emaciated, that he had
What is emaciated?
skinny, scrawny, malnutrition, not enough food, not enough.
What does emaciated mean? Look at his face. Does he look shocked to you? It's hard to tell.
Water to sustain life. So he had.
I'm sorry, what?
He had duct tape on his extremities, on his hands, on his ankles, and those were covering rope burns that were used to tie him down. Take a second and think about what I just said.
Come on.
Oh, crap.
Is that something you and Ruby sought out to help correct, like some of the things?
Yes, and
Okay.
and I supported it, and so together we helped.
Okay, wait, what? I supported it? Hold on a second. Oh wait, that just jumped back a second. Hold on. When I swiped out. Hold on. I got so excited that I swiped.
He had
What does emaciated mean?
skinny,
What does
scrawny,
emaciated mean?
malnutrition, not enough food, not enough water to sustain life. So he
I'm
had
sorry, what?
he had duct tape on his extremities, on his hands, on his ankles, and those were covering rope burns that were used to tie him down. Take a second and think about what I just said. That's the condition of your son. Given that information, your son was taken to the hospital. A warrant has been applied and granted by the Department of Child and Family Services to remove from your wife's care. So no one right now is going to have access to these two children based on their physical condition. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Would you condone that behavior?
Would I condone that behavior?
That's my job. My job is to find out your knowledge of the treatment of these
Based on your
precious
description,
children.
no. Again, I don't know the details, or I don't know what's going on, but as you described that sounds
Horrible, disgusting. No human being should be treated like that.
Okay.
That's my thoughts. But again, we might be.
He's saying, I don't know the circumstances. He's not even saying that he finds this horrifying. Right, Roseanne? He's not looking too upset either. Right. He just told you the details. Exactly. I don't know the circumstances.
Different on that. We're gonna let you sit here for a second, okay? We're gonna go out and talk. I'm not saying you're still not free to go. Are you under arrest? Absolutely not. We just have lots of questions that we need to figure out. Lots. Okay?
Okay, because.
Your children are under medical care right now.
And what does that mean?
And it means that you don't have access to them. My understanding is that they are, what is that?
They're in the custody of DCFS.
And they will be for the next 7
There's a medical hold on them right now. So for at least the next 72 hours, based on our understanding.
At least the next 70.
They're in observation, they're being watched.
DCFS is gonna provide you that information and they can better answer your questions along those lines. That's handled through them. Okay, so we'll be back.
So I want you to think about some things though.
I don't know.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I want you to think about that for a minute. Don't have no idea where they're at.
Oh, I don't either. But,
Okay, we're gonna hop out here. We'll be back in a minute, okay? That's still recording audio and video, okay? So if you would, don't make any phone calls.
sure.
Dr. G is going to have a field day with this guy. And now they're going to let him sit there and they're going to tape him. And this is not my specialty, it's not body language, but we all watch enough body language experts to know. How is he not arrested? Jennifer can't believe what she's saying. Vicinator, how is he not arrested? Still out. He's still never been arrested. All right, so we can skip through this as we watch him sit, head in hand, lean forward.
It's my wife. I love my wife. What's going to happen? It's my wife. I love my wife.
What's going to happen to my wife? I love my wife. Doesn't ask what's going to happen to my kids. I love my kids. Are they going to be okay? Are they at risk of death? How bad is it? What?
I don't know. I'm being honest with you. I don't know. Haven't had an interview with
I
you
don't
yet.
know if charges against my wife.
Possibly. I think given the circumstances, that's highly appropriate, but again, I don't know your wife. I was hoping to gain some insight from you, but I don't necessarily know that that's something you wanted to,
I trust her,
a road you wanted to travel down with me, so.
and not without legal representation.
Yeah, all right, I get it.
But I love my wife, and I trust my wife. And so, I mean, this feels like getting run over by a steam truck, what you're sharing with me today.
Yeah,
I love my wife. I trust my wife. Who's this woman sitting to the left of the screen? Anybody knows? Chime in. It's not an attorney because he said he won't really give them any further insight without an attorney, but I think this guy has his judgment is a little skewed.
I can tell you're caught off guard.
I thought I was just coming here to pick up my kids, and for what, I don't know what or why, but. And I was planning on taking them back with me, and just.
I mean, I'd love to have a candid conversation with you. I just don't know how it's going to be received by you. I don't know you, but I can tell you my perception of how this happened.
Well, I'm
Whether you value
interested
that or not, it's,
look, I'm interested in facts, but again, at the same time, I'm interested in all the facts.
but you understand our facts. Our facts are that you have a child that is emaciated, malnutrition, and has marks. I didn't spend any time with her. Sergeant Tobler did.
Did any of you spend time with her?
They didn't spend
I
time.
have not.
She went to. She was requested to go to the hospital along with Russell, based on their condition.
Folks, I don't know what to do. Like, I want to. You realize that I have a picture of my family on my wall, and I look at it every day, and I work every day, so I can get back to my family and save my family. And everything you're sharing to me just sounds like a made-up story. Like
I just can't believe it because he's got a picture of his family in his office at work on his desk. He's just trying to save his family. He's just trying to get back to his family. Does anybody believe him? Does anybody believe him? I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm being too harsh on this guy. Is he an abused spouse? Is he somebody who deserves our empathy? Is he somebody that we should feel sorry for because he cares so much about his family because he has a picture on his desk? I don't care what gender he is. Thank you.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, it sounds like a horror movie.
It is a horror movie that your kids lived in because you never checked on them. I know, Rebecca. I'm trying to do it
You're all doing your jobs. I get it.
in a classy way.
I understand. And this is my life. I just want my kids. I just want my kids. I just want my family.
why I don't have your
I
phone,
don't
dude.
know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why these things that you described happen. I don't know. It's almost like I want to say, I'm sorry, you must have somebody else. Because it's like, am I in the right conference room here? No. That's what I feel like. It's real, you know. I'm having a hard time accepting this and dealing with this. I mean, you're telling me that you're taking my kids from me. And like, we need to transfer the titles of the car to my name, you know, or we're going to cancel these credit cards and stuff like that. So just stuff related to the finances really is the.
Oh, she was going to cut him off financially. That's what she had on him. She had control of the bank account. That's why maybe he stayed away, because she was in control of the money. Wow. Follow the money. That's what I always say.
Our only communications over the past year.
Sure.
We've had zero communications regarding the kids.
Okay.
You didn't ask.
I've had no reason to believe or think that there was anything going on. For all intents and purposes, I woke up this morning looking at the picture of my family and making my commitment today, as I do every day, that I'm going to live an honest, a virtuous, and a responsible life today. And what
Honest, virtuous, and responsible life today. Was he brainwashed into thinking that that's what he had to do to be cured from his addiction to dirty magazines and films and Sports Illustrated covers? Is he brainwashed? Am I wrong?
you're sharing with me just feels like a sucker punch.
Huh. How do you think they feel? How do you think they felt with handcuffs around their hands and shackles around their ankles and duct tape around their wounds that were dressed with cayenne pepper and honey? How do you think they feel? You feel like you've been sucker punched, dude?
Just imagine. Brianna, do you have questions? Okay.
If I still have a family,
Yeah.
and I just I don't know what my plan. My plan is to go to God.
Sure.
And to figure this out.
Right.
And, I am just heartbroken what you all are sharing with me. And I feel responsible. Separating, leaving. It hurts. And I wish I was a better husband.
Wow.
I know you're all doing your jobs. And I know you all have the best interest of my kids in mind. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thanks. That means a lot.
I just want my kids back. I want my family back. I want my wife back.
He didn't ask if the kids are all right once, did he? Did I miss it?
I don't want this to sound rude, Kevin. We've got some things to do, but we're not kicking you out. But the building's closed.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You know what song that is? You know, I think in song lyrics. Not trying to be rude, Kevin, but the building is closing.
Okay. You're going to be okay driving home? I really am worried about you. Okay.
I really am
Do your
worried
best.
about you.
Breathe. Got to pull over the side of the road. Do you drink Red Bulls?
Do you drink Red Bull? That was the last question. Holy moly. Closing time. Thank you, Melissa Smith, for coming in with the song title. Anybody know the artist? Anybody know the artist? That's the title of that song. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I know who I want to take me home. Is it Blind Melon? Is it Semisonic? To be honest, I kind of forgot. Bama TLC, I'm in tears. I feel for this man. I have a son who's very much experiencing a very similar circumstance with a wife who has alienated him from his family. I'm torn. You need to do whatever you can to help your son in the court of law to get back with his family. Do not let him be manipulated by some witch who wants to control him and his children, because help him. You can help him. And a lot of people in the chat had a lot of things to say about this. And I want to go to that now, because I think these are important things to talk about. Boss Lady says, awareness is critically important. Enforces, see something, please. Yeah, if you see something, say something, please. Please. Ray, is it your birthday, Ray? Happy birthday, Ray. I think he checked out of what was actually happening, and he may have been truly surprised about the extent of what's happening, but should he have known? Would he have known to paying attention? Yeah, should you check in? Yes, boss lady, see something, say something. Calm Kitty 2 says he was hoodwinked by Jodi. Jodi influenced Ruby, and Ruby influenced him. He trusted Ruby. Ruby trusted Jodi, and Jodi is psychopathic. There's a lot of dynamics at play here, and I'm a lawyer. I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist or a criminal profiler, but there's so much going on here that we've been here for 2.5 hours, and we're not even going to scratch the surface of the stuff that dropped today. Eminem says Hildebrandt was good at brainwashing the father, sometimes telling the wife to call the cops if he should come by. I think she did a lot to alienate people from their families, especially taking the women away from their families. And it's horrifying. The next thing that I wanted to look at with you is some of the diary that was found. It's disturbing in a lot of ways. And there's also some video here of some stuff that was found in the home. And this is going to take us back to Kathy Russon, RUSSON. Go check out her Twitter later. Subscribe to her Twitter. She's a producer at Law and Crime, and she's been live tweeting all day about this and dropping certain videos and things for us to check out. And here's a video of take this back. Just some of the things police found in the home, and they're bagging into evidence. Shackles, I don't think this video has any sound. And this is 16:28 p.m., 8:30, 2023 Mountain Time. Rope. It's going to replay because it's a short video. I don't know if those are leg shackles with the actual rope attached to it, because remember, they were tied to the floor, or at least the boy was. It's horrifying. It is sick. And I hope the Utah Board of Pardons and Paroles is going to take all of this new evidence into consideration when they are deciding how much time these two monsters should spend in the correctional facility that they are currently incarcerated in Utah. And you can correct me again if I'm wrong, but is there only one women's prison in the state of Utah, or are there two? Are they in the same prison? I know you guys are following this very closely, my Utah friends. So there's an audio. There's an audio of Kevin Franke. He has another interview, and it's about 40 minutes long, but there's just a little clip of it here on Kathy's Twitter, and he's talking about, I'm going to play it for you. This is only a minute and 40 seconds. He's talking about Jodi and her visions. Let me know that you can hear this.
Just going back, you said that she was having like these visions of like were you ever privy enough to understand or be told what those visions were? A couple of them. What were the two they should tell you about? So like one of them, she was walking along the beach with Jesus, and Jesus challenged her to go walk on the water, and it was a whole lesson on walking on the water. Another, she would walk with Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother, and she had a pet lion in heaven.
Okay, he's talking about these visions that Jodi used to have. So I'm going to take it back a little bit. She had visions that she was walking on the beach with Jesus.
So like one of them, she was walking along the beach with Jesus, and Jesus challenged her to go walk on the water.
And Jesus challenged her to go walk on the water.
And it was a whole lesson on walking on the water.
And it was a whole lesson on walking on water.
She would walk with Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother, and she learned about.
She would walk with Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother, and she learned about.
She had a pet lion in heaven.
She had a pet lion in heaven.
I don't know why I never forgot.
Named Charles.
Forgot that name, but it was like this massive lion, and she got to ride the lion.
It was a massive lion, and she got to ride the lion.
Learned that, all about who she was and this pet lion and all. There was another one where there was a lot of satanic ones.
There was a lot of satanic ones. And then he goes on to say she would go into possession mode. She is Satan's bride. Then he says something about exorcisms, lights turning off and on, footsteps going up the walls, stuff floating around, Jodi and Ruby sleeping in the same bed. Oops. In August of 2021, Ruby Franke convinced Kevin to let Jodi Hildebrandt move in for a while. Kevin said weird things would happen around the house. Jodi was possessed. Not making this up. Ruby would check on Jodi every hour, and then she started sleeping in the same bed as Jodi. Kevin stayed in another room. Jodi would go into trances and say she was talking with Jesus and God. Okay, dude. So this is all going on in your house, in August of 2021, and you decide to leave because Jodi said so, this woman who's having satanic delusions and sleeping in the bed with your wife, and she's possessed, and you're leaving your children in the custody of Jodi and Ruby? Dude, really? This is August of 2021. You leave the house in, what did he say, June of 2022? I think I wrote the date down. July 24th of 2022. Cults held against her will, seducing the husband. Kevin and Franke says in March 2021, when Jodi Hildebrandt revealed she was being haunted at night by dark shadows, the Hannas moved her into their home for 6 weeks. Johnny Hanna is the co-founder of @TryHomie, whatever that is. His wife Paige was reportedly a certified life coach at Connections, Jodi's company. Kevin Franke says Jodi said she was held there against her will for 6 weeks. He says the Hannas said Jodi was stabbing herself, suicidal, and trying to seduce Johnny Hanna. All this is in Kathy's Twitter feed, and you should go there and read it for yourself. And she says, and this is where things get weird. Kevin and Franke tells police in March of 2021, Jodi began to believe she was being haunted by evil spirits. He tells them her bishop would go to her house. I'm fighting evil spirits. I'm casting demons out. This was his second police interview. It is audio only. And it's nuts. You can't make this stuff up. You guys, thanks for hanging in here with me. It's been almost 3 hours, and there is so much more to this story. We didn't even get to the diary. Let's just look at a couple of these horrifying posts, and then you can go do the rest of the research on your own if you are so inclined. But it is horrifying. There are also some jailhouse phone calls. There's a jailhouse phone call where Jodi Hildebrandt says that the young boy gave himself the wounds on his wrists and hands. Oh, let's just turn that on because I can't even believe this. It's only 12 seconds, so hang in for 1 sec.
The pictures are going to destroy you. And I'm like, we didn't do that. We didn't do that. Those pictures we did not do. He did that to himself, yes. Did we put that on him and then he rubbed around and cut himself? Yes, but we didn't do that. The pictures.
He did that to himself. There are some pictures of a mini trampoline that apparently they would force the children to jump on in the smoldering heat to learn coordination. That was seized as evidence. A journal that appears to be written by Ruby Franke. One entry says, the young boy told me, and this is written by Ruby, he would rather have a glass of water than me as his mom. Could you imagine the torture that was inflicted by these two monsters on these children? There is a special place in hell, my friends, a special place in hell. And you know where to find all this now. You can go and look at it later. I don't want to trigger anyone because I think we've done enough triggering for one night, because the story only gets worse from here. I'm going to come to the chat now and ask you to please all hit the like button on your way out. It's really good for helping the algorithm for this stream to get out there. And we're probably still not friendly for advertisers, even though we tried so hard to keep it classy tonight. And I think we did keep it classy tonight. Dream says, Jodi and Ruby could have had each other, but my kids would come with me, period. Yeah. Helen, I'm going to say goodbye to you because this is the way that we do it here. I tried to tell you that earlier, but I guess you didn't want to hear it. So we're just going to say goodbye for now. And you can go into timeout because a lot of people appreciate what I do here. This takes a lot of work. It's not, if you want to go watch a stream with AI narrated voices, you're free to do that. Okay. I've had enough of the complainers. I've had enough of the Twitter bashers. And if I look at Twitter one more time and there's another trashing about me, talking about the Karen Reed case, I think I'm going to scream. So, enough already. Enough with the vitriol, enough with the hatred on Twitter, enough with the people who live in their mother's basements coming out and trashing everybody who wants to just find justice for people and talk for victims. And in that case, by the way, in that case, in the Karen Reed case, by the way, the victim is Officer John O'Keefe. Okay, so the twits need to just take a step back and worry about that. It's unreal what's going on over there. It's horrifying. We're all adults. I don't need warnings. Tired of that too. Like if you don't like it, click off. Melanie, thank you. Go. Yep. Right. That's it. That's it. Thank you for appreciating me. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, Great Dane Mom. Really, it's kind of like horrifying what's going on out there. I'm being totally, totally trashed on Twitter. Cash App. Oh, I have it right here. Thank you so much for asking, Pierre. I appreciate you. This is a volunteer position. So when I see people on Twitter accusing me of being paid by Karen Reed's defense firm for making my videos, I can only laugh because I wish. The latest is that I vacationed with Alan Jackson, Karen Reed's attorney. We vacationed together in Cancun. That's how tight we are. So yeah, there's that. Completely untrue. Never met him in my life, but hey, they can say whatever they want on Twitter behind a fake name and it's totally cool, right? Good. Go watch Dr. G's video. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Life Love. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm trashed because I reveal the truth. Thank you. Thanks, Brenda. Effing bots as well. No, these people are really real. They're really real. They're out there. They trash everyone. It's not just me. Somebody said to me, wow, you're looking at this the wrong way. You should be excited that people think that you're in some sort of coup. You should really, they think you're part of the Illuminati. Like, that's totally, totally cool. Like, no, it's like, really? I just, oh, Casey, I forgot to address this before. Thanks for the super chat. How come the school didn't report the abuse? It's obvious she had malnutrition. They were homeschooled. So that's why they were not around any mandated reporters. And that's why this went unchecked for so long. And also free range parenting laws in Utah, which allow parents to leave their children alone for days at a time. Because when Franke called the police, when the children were left alone in Springville for 5 days or something, the police said, well, there's really nothing that we can do. They went to the house, the kids wouldn't answer the door. And so they went on their way. So there's that. Jules Waddy, thank you so much for your super chat. It hopes those beautiful children heal from their ordeal. So do I. So do I. Thank you so much for that. And you put in another super chat to say that as well. Sending hugs to those beautiful children. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. And Sherry Davis gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sherry. That's very generous of you. And Della, thank you so much for having gratitude because it's it's a rough life being out here all alone in the YouTube universe because people apparently can just go on Twitter under a fake name, fake profile, and just basically, trash you however they want. So, I warn, Lawyer Lee has just gotten into covering the Karen Reed case, and I think Megan Fox did it last night. So, fair warning, my lady friends. Just be careful because it's a jungle out there. It's a jungle. There's a jungle out there. Some people need to get out of mommy's basement and, I don't know, do something else other than start a fake Twitter account and tweet nothing except the Karen Reed case for 3,563 tweets over the course of 8 months. I mean, do you have anything else going on in your life? It is shocking. Is it Third Eye Blind? I think it is Third Eye Blind. Yeah, I think that is. Closing time? I didn't look it up. But I'm going to trust that you did. To my moderators who are the best on YouTube, I thank you, thank you, thank you so much for your time and your energy. I know this probably wasn't easy tonight, and it was a long one. So thank you, my friends. You are amazing. To all of my channel members, I thank you for wanting to listen to me because nobody else does. Not my kids anyway. And thank you to all of my viewers, all of my replay viewers. I couldn't have this channel without you. And remember, my friends, be cool, be kind, be classy. It's not hard. It is really so not hard. Peace, hug your kids, and justice and healing vibes for the Franke children. Thank you. You guys are awesome.